Angikam bhuvanam yasya vachikam sarvavangmayam aharya chandra tarading tam namam satvikam shivam. Nataraja in dance. This is a very important subject. And today, in our gathering here, we will exchange ideas and thoughts on this one entity who embodies the entire universe, whose speech is the language of the universe, whose ornaments are the moon and the stars. We pray to the pure, serene Lord Shiva. Every dancer begins with this shloka as a prayer to Lord Shiva as Nataraja before starting the class and before a performance on the stage. That shloka lists the four aspects of Abhinaya: Angikam, Vachikam, Aharyam and Satvikam, which every dancer masters and expresses on the stage. Nataraja, literally the king of dance, plays an important spectator and a judge of a dancer's capabilities. It is no wonder that he is part of the stage during every Bharatanatyam performance seen in India. Visiting any Shiva temple, one cannot miss the Ananda Tandava pose, either be it as the main deity as in Chidambaram temple, the procession deity as part of a pillar as in Madurai Meenakshi temple, or on the ceiling panels as in Banaras Vishwanath temple. Lord Shiva has many forms and there are interesting anecdotes attached to each one of them. And there is also famous mythology of how Nataraja came to be. While Lord Shiva has a pan-Indian and pan-Asian spread, the form of Nataraja, as we know today, is quintessentially a South Indian creation. Before the image of Nataraja was chiseled in stone and sculpted in metal, poets and saints such as Tirumular and Appar and others have painted an image using only words that was significant in influencing ancient artists. Inspired by these, the Pallava king Mahendravarman, in honor of his father Simha Vishnu, executed the Shiva temple called Avani Bhajana Paleveshram in the village Siyamangalam, Tiruvannamalai districts of Tamil Nadu. In this rock-cut cave temple, there is a bas-relief of Shiva as Nataraja. According to archaeologists and historians, this is probably the first instance of a Nataraja to be carved in stone based on descriptions given in Saivite literature and songs. This Nataraja is different from the Chola bronze image we see today. The main differences of this Nataraja with the image we know today are: the left arm is in Dola Hasta and not brought to the right side, the absence of Apsamara or Mullahan, presence of two Shiva Ganas, where one is beating an upright drum and the other is praying to Shiva. The most common Nataraj pose in Natya Shastra terms is part of 108 Karnas as mentioned in Natya Shastra. Based on the position of arms and legs, it is the Bhujanga Trasitam Karna. Bhujanga means snake, and this pose is of a man who, after noticing a snake, lifts his leg in haste with fear and throws his hands outward to ward off the snake. This position of the hands are also significant. While he has his right hand in Abhay Hasta, dancers use the Pataka Hasta or Ardha Chandra Hasta. The left is in Dola Hasta and points towards the lifted left leg. The left foot is in Kunchita stance and hence the toe is pointing to the ground and thus known as Kunchita Padam. Due to this, a small garland decorating the deity in Chidambaram is also referred as Sri Kunchita Padam. The Nataraj in Avani Bhajana Palaveshwaram, I repeat, the Nataraja in Avani Bhajana Palaveshwaram, as mentioned earlier, does not have the serpents as ornaments. However, there is a snake at the feet of Nataraja. The sculptor felt the need to include this most likely as this form of Shiva adheres to the Bhujanga Trasitam Karna as mentioned in Natya Shastra. Origins of Nataraja. According to the legends of Chidambaram temple, the temple of Shaivites, Lord Shiva came to a community of rishis to teach them that without the grace of the divine, their knowledge and their power amounts to nothing. Shiva, in the form of mendicant, came to them and had made the rishis' wives fall in love with him, while Vishnu took the form of Mohini and made the rishis lose their senses to her charms. When some of the rishis saw these illusionary traps, they set forth a magical fire from which came a ferocious tiger. With these, Shiva killed it and wore the tiger's skin as a loincloth. Next, the rishis sent poisonous snakes which Shiva wore as ornaments after subduing them. Feeling defeated, they sent a dwarf demon to attack Shiva, which he used as a pedestal and stood upon the dwarf. Finally, the rishis sent the fire itself, which Shiva played with his left hand. Thus, he started to dance the cosmic dance as Nataraja or the Ananda Tandava. The power of his dance made the rishis to realize their folly and surrender to him and realize the importance of enlightenment. Indian classical dancers do not tire by enacting the story even today. Not only is the story's message powerful, the execution gives ample space for imagination in the dancer. The ultimate Tandava dance includes jumps, pirouettes, and statuesque poses that make the audience sit on the edge of their seats. Almost invariably, the dancer finishes it with the Nataraja pose, as to signify the connection. The American dancer Ted Shawn was quite captivated by the Nataraja image that he commissioned a foundry in Calcutta to sculpt a life-size Tiruvasi or the Ring of Fire weighing about 400 kilo with a pedestal so that he can dance as Lord Nataraja in America. Symbolism of Nataraja in Ananda Tandava. The pose called as the Ananda Tandava or the dance of bliss was Shiva's intention to show the rishis the bliss of supreme. It symbolizes the cycle of creation and destruction. If we look deeper into the details of the Nataraja bronze sculpture, famously protected by the Chola Empire, one realizes that the verses of Tirumantiram by Tirumular are depicted in action. In layman terms, as explained by Anandakumar Swami, the dance of Shiva represents his 5 activities: Srishti, that is creation and evolution; Sthiti, preservation and support; Samhara, destruction and evolution; Tirubhava, illusion; and Anugraha, release, emancipation, grace. Ananda Kumar Swami further describes Nataraja as, in his upper right hand, Shiva holds a small hourglass shaped drum to symbolize the primal sound of creation. The upper left bears a tongue of flame, the element of destruction. The way the two hands are balanced points to the dynamic balance of creation and destruction in the world, underlined by the dancer's calm and detached face in the center of two hands. It is the face of one who has dissolved and transcended the polarity of creation. The lower right hand is raised in Abhay Mudra, the sign that denotes do not fear, symbolizing maintenance, protection, and peace, while the lower left hand points down to the uplifted foot, symbolic of the release from the spell of Maya. The image is a paradox, in a sense that there is so much activity happening with the use of Shiva's arms and legs, the coiling of snakes, the obeisance of Ganga, who is being flung away from the hairlocks, and so on. Shiva's face reflects the inner tranquility of attaining the bliss or Ananda. Apart from these outer symbolic representations, the Ananda Tandava has sub yet deeper interpretations that are significant for a dancer's knowledge. For example, the Damaru emanates sounds or vibrations that conceive the primal force from which all music and the language of the universe arose. The frayed red locks of Nataraja are sprinkled with stars, which are symbolic of the rhythm of the entire universe or cosmos. While the sun and the moon are two eyes of Nataraja, The crescent moon adorning his headgear indicates the mind control. The praying Ganga, who is usually locked in his dreaded locks, is also seen to be in the movement with Nataraja's locks. She is seen in praying pose and admiring the Lord's divine dance. Ganga is symbolic of the nectar of immortality. The snakes, which Nataraja wears as ornaments, are part of his dynamic movement, where they, similar to Ganga, are awed and looking in Vismaya Bhava with their heads turned, indicating the diverse energies of mankind subdued and under control. Finally, the apasmaras or the Molayan signifies the evil and ignorance of the world, which has been defeated. It is interesting to note that the other accessories Nataraja wears has been skillfully depicted in the Chola bronze images. In Mahabharata, Shiva came in the form of a Kirata or a hunter in front of Arjuna and fought with him before giving him weapons Arjuna was praying for. Kirata Arjuna is a famous mythological story. According to mystical aspects, the color white is a favorite of Shiva. Thus, he likes white flowers, milk, rice, ash, offerings that are predominantly white. Combining these two, the ancient sculptors has depicted the white feathers of the crane and is frequently mentioned as a Kirata or the hunter in Saivite poems and literature. These feathers are often mistaken as from peacock. In her book Lagu Bharatam, the Bharatanatyam dancer Sudharani Raghupati has an interesting take on the symbolism of Nataraja. Two triangles forming a sixth-edged star known as Sabdkonam, resembling a Devi star, can be superposed on the image of a Nataraja. The outer edges of the stars align with 1. Ganga on the head, 2. Fire on the upper left hand, 3. Flowing the loincloth indicating the dynamism, 4. Apasmara or Moyalkan, the demon of ignorance, the Damru in the upper right is 5th, and finally the 6th is the lifted leg, also known as Kunchida Padam. And each of these can be interpreted as the Panchakshara mantra of Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, in the same order as described above. Om Namah Shivaya. Types of Tandava. According to Saivite legends, Shiva dances 7 types of Tandavas. They are Ananda Tandava, dance of bliss, Sandhya Tandavanam, dance of dusk under the banyan tree, Gauri Tandavam, dance with Gauri, Tripura Tandavam, dance after slaying the demon Tripura, Kalika Tandavam, dance after slaying the demons of ignorance and evil, Uma Tandavam, dance with Uma, and Samhara Tandavam, dance of destruction. There are variations among Saivite legends as to number of Tandava performed by Shiva. According to another Saivite mythology, Shiva performed 64 Tandavas at 64 different shrines. Among the 7 Tandavas listed above, the Ananda Tandava portrays all the manifold responsibilities of the Lord and thus considered the foremost of all Tandavas. Panchasabha. According to Saivite legend of Tamil Nadu, Shiva dances Tandava in 5 places and they are worshipped as Panchasabha Sthanangal. Pancha 5 Sabha Hall Sthanangal place. In the Veli Sabha or Veli Amban in Madurai, the Nataraja is seen dancing with his right leg lifted instead of the left. There is an interesting story behind this. The Pandyan king Rajashekharan, a Saivite devotee and a master of 63 art forms, had delayed learning dance out of his reverence to Lord Nataraja. However, in due course, he started learning dance to complete his mastery over the 64 arts. During his training, he realized the difficulty of maintaining the Nataraja pose and wondered if a mere mortal could not stand in this pose for more than a few minutes, How is Nataraja able to stand on his right leg all through centuries? Thus, he prayed to the Lord to change the leg position so that Shiva could relax. Bowing to his devotees' wishes, Lord Shiva changed his leg position and thus enacted his Leela of Kalamari Adyai Padalam, or the story of how Shiva changed his leg's position. Kal is leg in Tamil. These legends has been popularized and dancers performed to a famous song composed by Andavan Pichai called Kalamari Adiya, set to Kuntala Varali Raga and Aditala. In Chidambaram, there is a mandapam or a hall called Nritya Sabha or the Hall of Dance. This mandapa is shaped like a chariot pulled by horses. The pillars of this mandapa are filled with miniature and intricate carving of dancers dancing, as confirming to the name of the Sabha. The deity of worship in this Sabha is the Urdhava Tandava pose of Shiva, where the Lalita Tilaka Karana is depicted. The legend goes that in a competition between Shiva and Kali, Shiva raised his leg to pick his fallen earring and using this right foot wore the earring again. Most scholars reason that due to modesty, Kali accepted defeat as she could never raise a leg. Others claim that Shiva did not teach this particular Karana to Kali and hence she was stumped as to how to perform this pose. The famous Chola bronze image of Nataraja that adorns the Government Museum, Chennai, is from Thiruvalangadu temple, which houses the Ratni Sabha or the Emerald Hall, frequently depicted Nataraja poses. According to Natya Shastra and other legends, there are 108 Tandava poses that Shiva performs. Each of these poses have been depicted in sculptures of Chidambaram, Tanjore, Kumbakonam, and more recently in Satara, Maharashtra. Dr. Padma Subramaniam studied and popularized these dynamic poses of Karanas and she documented them in detail. While listing all the 108 Karanas is beyond the scope of this chapter, we will see the popular depictions of Nataraja other than the Ananda Tandava pose as performed by dancers today. In one of the poses, the dancer is depicting the Srishti or creation aspect of Nataraja. She holds her left arm in Dola Hasta or Gaja Hasta, while her right arm indicates the Damaru. Also having the Ardha Mandali maintained in right leg, her left foot is in Konchita Pada. While this is an easier pose to depict Nataraja, the embellishment in this is the shaking of the Damaru while maintaining this posture. A variation of the above is when the dancer has her right hand in Tripataka, denoting Shiva as Nataraja, and her left hand is in Suchi Hasti and pointing to the earth. While her left foot is in Kunchita Pada, which is being pointed by Suchi Hasta, the interesting part is the right foot is also in Kunchita, he lifted above the ground while maintaining Ardha Mandali or half-sitting pose. Another pose preferred by dancers to depict Nataraja is when they show the fire as Ala Padma Hasta on the left hand and deer as Mriga Shirsha Hasta on the right hand, with the legs as depicted in the sculpture, left foot in Kunchita and right in Ardha Mandali. Among the 108 Karnas, Visulukranta, Vishakrita and Lala Tatilika Karnas are frequently portrayed by dancers to depict the Tandava aspect of Shiva. In Vislukranta Karana, the left leg is raised above the waist to have it horizontal to the ground, while holding the left toe with the right hand and depicting a hasta, commonly a raised dola hasta, with the left hand. In contrast, Vrishika Rechita and Lala Tilaka involve raising the leg near to the head and either having dynamic movements of the arms or having hastas that portray the attributes of Nataraja, like Ardhachandra for the moon, Tripataka, etc. There are numerous songs and poems in praise of Nataraja that came out in Bhakti period, 5th to 17th century. Also, composers in the 19th century have also composed songs about Nataraja. Here we will see few compositions that have been popular in Bharatanatyam that praise Nataraja. Natanam Adinar. This is a famous Kirtanam that was taught by Pandanallur Meenakshi Sundaram Pillai to Ram Gopal, Rukmini Devi Arundel of Kalakshetra, Shantarao. Guru Muthukumaran Pillai also taught this to M. K. Saroja, Nallanajan and Janak Henry. Each of them popularized it with choreography to a great extent, and this song is now standard composition every Bharatanatyam dancer knows and has to master it. Gopala Krishna Bharati, 1810 to 1896, composed this Kirtanam where he describes how the rishis in the Himalayas took penance to see the divine dance of Shiva as Nataraja. Accordingly, Shiva granted the boon by making a promise that in the month of Thai, January, February, during the Pusa Nakshatram day, in a place called Tillai or the forest filled with Daruka trees, Daruka Vanam, he will perform the divine dance. How did he dance? The 8 directions shook, and also the snakes he wore as ornaments shook their head as he danced. The ground vibrated with his stomps, and the Ganga in his locks shook so much that she was sprinkling holy water everywhere. The witnesses to this dance were the 33 crore Devas and Ganas who praised Lord Nataraja's dance. Also taking artistic liberty, the poet envisions himself singing, to which the Lord Nataraja is dancing. Varugulamo Ayya. Varugelapo Ayya is also a composition of Gopala Krishna Bharati as part of his Kathak Kalashapam called Nandanar Charitram. This famous dance composition is performed in the Vilambit Kal or slow speed as suitable for a padam by Bharatanatyam dancers. The setting is of a Nayanmar called Tirunalai Puar or Nandanar, who is a Dalit by birth and his sole aim in his life is to visit Chidambaram and have a darshan of Lord Nataraja. Being a Paraya, he is not allowed inside, and the temple and there are gates. He sings his paeans to Lord Nataraja. Shall I come in? Shall I come to see you? Sing and dance near you. A heart-rending composition was performed by Rukmini Devi Arundale when she visited Chidambaram after dance training with Muthukumaran Pillai, who also taught this item to M.K. Saroja, for whom this has become a signature item. Adi Kondar. This is a Kirtanam by Muthu Tandavar, 1525 to 1600, a Carnatic music composer who describes the dance of Nataraja. Adi Kondar is set in Raga Maya Malava Golai and Adi Talam. The poet is awed and unable to comprehend as to whether 2 eyes are enough to witness the divine dance of Nataraja. Doesn't one need 1,000 eyes for this? He ponders. He further describes the dynamism of Nataraja's dance by mentioning how his dreadlocks, his snake ornaments, the Ganga, the deer, the axe are all swaying in the same direction as Nataraja dancing. Not only are Nataraja's attributes dancing, seeing his dance, Ganesh, Indra, and 33 crore Devas are also dancing. This dance is admired by his consort Shivakami, who, like the poet, is in awe of the Ananda Tandava. Bharatanatyam dancers perform Adi Kondar with jatis that display all the 5 jatis: Chatursam, Tishram, Mishram, Khandam, and Sankiram. They add the Sanchari of Shiva competing with Kali. Other songs that describe Nataraja, his attributes, and his dance are Idad Padam Tokiyadum Natarajanani Panivaye Indrin Idad Padam Tokiyadum and of course Ananda Nadimanadam Patan. Where do dancers find inspiration for depicting Nataraja? The answer is in temple sculptures and frescoes that are abound. At the same time, as dancer Sudhamani Raghumatan says, as one ponders on the figure of Nataraja, many philosophical ideas flow through the mind. Thus, the beauty, science, symbolism of Nataraja can be compared to the fountainhead of creativity and assimilation of Indian classical dance forms.